Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Attorney Generals, Solicitor Generals, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the ALCO Secretariat, I welcome you all to the 60th annual session of ALCO. May I request all the delegates to kindly be seated who are standing at the back. We are about to begin the inaugural session. Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the dignitaries on the top table to the delegates. We have His Excellency Dr. Kamalin Pinat-Puva-Dole, Secretary General of ALCO. The chief guest for the session, Honorable Madam Meenakshi Lekhi, Minister of State for External Affairs and Culture, Government of India. Ms. Jia Mia, Minister at the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, New Delhi. She's representing the President of the 59th Annual Session of ALCO. Mr. Gaston Canfag, the Vice President for the 59th Annual Session of ALCO. Honorable Mr. Jeffrey Mzengo Pinda, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Constitution and Legal Affairs, United Republic of Tanzania, the President of the 58th Annual Session of ALCO. May I now request the Secretary General, Honorable Chief Guest, the President, the Vice President, and the President of the 58th Annual Session to proceed to light the diya to inaugurate the 60th Annual Session of ALCO. Please. Thank you so much for inaugurating the session. I take this opportunity now to invite Dr. Kamalin Pinat-Puva-Dole to deliver the welcome address on behalf of the ALCO Secretariat. Sir.
Your Excellencies, Madam Meenakshi Lekhi, the Honorable Minister of State for Internal Affairs and Culture, Government of India, and the Chief Guest of the 60th Annual Session. Your Excellencies, Honorable Geoffrey Mzengo Pinda, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Constitutional and Legal Affairs, the United Republic of Tanzania, on behalf of the President of the 58th Annual Session, Mrs. Jiama, Minister, Embassy of the People's Republic of China, New Delhi, on behalf of the
Recording
President,
in progress.
on behalf of the President of the 59th Annual Session, Dr. Gaston Kenfact, Director of Legislation, Minister of Justice, Republic of Cameroon, the Vice President of the 59th Annual Session. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to welcome you all to this 60th Annual Session of ALCO. We are particularly privileged that the Honorable Minister of State for External Affairs and Culture, Government of India, Madam Meenakshi Lekki, has kindly accepted to deliver inaugural address for this annual session. On behalf of the organization and my own behalf, I respectfully and warmly welcome Your Excellencies, and it is our privilege and honor to have your august presence among us today. We are confident with Your Excellencies setting the tone of our deliberation. The 60th annual session of ALCO is going to be a great success. Your Excellencies, it gives me an immense pleasure to note that we have again gathered in New Delhi for the 7th time of the annual session. The Republic of India is one of the 7 founding member states of the organization. Since ALCO establishment in 1956, already 6 of our annual sessions have taken place in New Delhi. In 1957, the first annual session of ALCO, and then 1967, 1973, 1998, 2006, and 2016. Your esteemed government has generously given all possible assistance for hosting the annual session and has also given us the permanent headquarters building together with the residence of the Secretary General in the heart of New Delhi at Charikapuri. I take this opportunity to place on record my sincere appreciation to Madam Uma Shekar, Additional Secretary and Head of the Legal and Treaty Division, Ministry of External Affairs, the Republic of India, for all their help and support to ALCO for the conduct of this annual session. The Legal and Treaty Division has always been a strong pillar of strength and support to ALCO in all her endeavors. I would like to express on behalf of the organization and member states our profound gratitude to Your Excellencies, to the Government of India, and to the Legal and Treaty Divisions for hosting this annual session of ALCO. This is the 7th time a headquarter annual session is being organized in the history of ALCO. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this annual session is special for me as this would be the first annual session being organized since I start my term of office as the Secretary General of the organization in January this year. I would like to take this opportunity to convey once again my profound gratitude to all member states for the trust that has been bestowed upon me with this esteemed position. My deep gratitude also extends to my mother country, the Kingdom of Thailand, for nominating me as candidate for this position and providing full assistance and strong support throughout the campaign. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, one of my priorities is to strengthen ALCO's cooperation and engagement with member states. To this objective, I have been proactive in visiting the mission of ALCO member states in New Delhi and engaging in constructive deliberation with Ambassador, High Commissioner on ways and means to foster relationship and engagement with member states. I was warmly welcomed and have received excellent cooperation and fruitful advice from all member states as well. I'd like to thank all member states for their time and their kind cooperation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the journey of ALCO has been an old one. From its establishment on November 15, 1956, with a small but vibrant group of 7 founding countries. Our goal is considered to be a tangible outcome of the Asian African Conference held in 1955 in Bandung, Indonesia, known as the Bandung Conference. We have come a long way. Today, we are a strong family of 47 member states. In addition, we have observers from non-member states and international organizations who are deeply interested in our work profile and are therefore admitted as observers to the organization. It is our hope that we shall continue to grow and evolve in the times ahead with more states joining us in the future. It is also our collective responsibility to promote the Bandung spirit of solidarity, friendships, and cooperation, and contribute toward the codification and progressive development of international law for the collective betterment of the people of these two great regions. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, this year, ALCO completes 66 years of its existence and is holding the 60th anniversary in one of the founding member states, the Republic of India. This long journey is demonstrative of the continued ideological relevance of the organization, as also the imperative for making it the main center for harmonizing the action of Asian African states in international legal matters. Over the years, ALCO has made great contribution toward codification and progressive development of international law and attract the attention of the international community. Some key examples can be highlighted as follows. In 1961, at the UN Conference on Diplomatic Relations in Vienna, ALCO's draft convention was formally placed for consideration, and some of its recommendations found place in the Vienna Convention on the Diplomatic Relations. In 1966, ALCO adopted a set of principles on the treatment of refugees, known as the Bangkok Principle, which helped guide member states on how to deal with the refugee situation, especially as the majority are not yet party to the UN Convention on Refugees. In 1971, the concept Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ, was presented in a working paper presented by Kenya. This concept finally found its way to the final text of the Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. In 2014, the ALCO Secretariat published a special study entitled Marine Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction, an African-Asian Perspective. This study has helped the member states in their participation in the UN Preparatory Committee in pursuit of adopting an exclusive convention on marine biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction. ALCO and UNCITRAL, United Nations Commission on Trade Law, have maintained a close and fruitful relation, especially in the matter of international commercial arbitration. At the organization in 1974, the UNCITRAL representatives suggest the regionalization of arbitration centers. The establishment and cooperation between arbitral institutions would lead to the progressive development of international commercial arbitration. In pursuit of this, ALCO, in cooperation with member states, has so far established 6 regional arbitration centers. In 2014, the topic International in Cyberspace was introduced as an agenda item to be deliberated at the 53rd annual session. And in 2015, an open-end working group in international law in cyberspace was established to further discussion on the issue identified. The Secretariat of ALCO also prepared a special study on international law in cyberspace, which was released in 2017 at the 56th annual session. Ladies and gentlemen, In the coming 3 days, the session will be deliberating upon various topics of contemporary relevance in international law, which reflect the concerns of our member states and will form part of our substantive agenda. We have 5 agenda items for deliberations, namely, select item on the agenda of the International Law Commission. As always, we shall focus on the work of the International Law Commission. One of the primary roles of ALCO is to examine subjects that are under the considerations of International Law Commission and to forward the views of member states to the Commission. I'm happy to note that the Secretariat has prepared a brief that highlights issues deliberated by the Commission during the recently concluded 73rd annual session. I take note of the presence of ILC members who will join us to make presentation online. And I'm also happy to note that some newly elected and re-elected ILC members have joined us in person at the annual session. I take this opportunity to welcome all of them and look very much forward to close cooperation in the near future. It has also become customary for ALCO and ILC to be represented during each other session. Our other substantive topic of engagement include environment and sustainable development, the status and treatment of refugees, violation of international law in Palestine and other occupied territories by Israel and other international legal issues related to the question of Palestine, and then the Israel trade and investment law. The background document on each of these topics have been prepared by the Secretariat with a lot of effort, and it is my hope that they shall pave the way for fruitful discussion and deliberation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the organization will provide an exclusive platform for the Asian African governments to deliberate upon the international law issues, which are of particular relevance for the two regions, and to come with concrete proposals and suggestions. The organization will also a wonderful opportunity for ALCO to work toward realizing our mandate in a meaningful and effective manner. In this regard, I look forward to your support and cooperation so that we are able to successfully conduct the session in the finest tradition of our glorious past. The special circumstances posed by the COVID-19 pandemic have necessitated the need to conduct annual session in hybrid mode, which include both physical and virtual participation from the delegate. This follows the approach adopted from the 59th session held in Hong Kong, SAR, the People's Republic of China last year. However, member states are welcome to include during their general statement the views on topic of the work program of the organization, which are not deliberated during the annual session. Given the tight schedule and the hybrid mode of participation, it is particularly important to keep the statement on each item on the agenda within the time allocated. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I would once again welcome you all to the 16th session of ALCO and to this historic and majestic city of New Delhi. I wish your session a grand success and hope that member states present here, including our observer delegation and international organizations, actively participate in the proceeding and enrich us through their wisdom, knowledge, and experience, and make the organization a successful and memorable one for us, as has always been the case in the past. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the address. May I now invite Ms. Jia Ma to deliver an opening statement on behalf of the President of the 59th Annual Session. May you have the floor, ma'am.
Honorable Minister of State, Madam Meenakshi Leahy, Dr. Kamaling, distinguished guests, excellencies, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, greetings and good afternoon. It is of immense pleasure for me to address this gathering at the start of the 60th annual session in New Delhi. This session is a headquarters annual session. It was a great pride and honor for the People's Republic of China to host the 59th annual session in Hong Kong, SAR last year. On behalf of the Chinese government, I take the opportunity to sincerely thank each and every member state of ARCO and the Secretariat of ARCO for coordinating and working with us in making the 59th annual session a grand success. I note that on account of the COVID-19 pandemic, the 59th annual session was the first held in hybrid format and has opened new vistas for the leveraging information technology to the best use of our professional engagement. In this regard, I'm happy that the 60th annual session is also being conducted in hybrid format so as to ensure maximum participation in these difficult and trying times. And I'm happy my colleagues in Beijing are now with us. China accords the highest importance to ARCO and has been a strong supporter of the organization ever since it became the member in 1983. China would like to resume, whenever possible, the China-ARCO Exchange and Research Program on international law, which was interrupted by the pandemic. Over the years, China has been advocating that ARCO should play an important role in the codification and the progressive development of international law, keeping in view the perspectives, dreams, and aspirations of the Asian and African countries. It is our views that historically the evolution and development of international law had, by and large, ignored the views and the positions of most Asian and African states. However, the situation has now changed. Today, Asia and Africa are at the forefront of economic growth, technological advancement, and are witnessing rapid progress in all areas of human endeavor, owing to the sincere and committed efforts of the people of these two great continents. In the field of international law, this has been reflected in a growing desire to work towards strengthening the world view of Bandung, including respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, non-interference in the internal affairs of other countries, pacific settlement of disputes, promotion of mutual interests and cooperation, and etc. In other words, international law is the basis of our collective engagement, and we should collectively endeavor to create and sustain international order where these aspirations are safeguarded. I'm happy to note that ARCO has over the years dedicated itself to a consultative role by securing a unique place in international relations. It is the only organization of its kind that aspires to create a bond between Asian and African states based on the idea that all nations are equal as regards the making and developing of international law. The valuable work of the organization in areas as diverse as law of the sea, the law of treaties, international environmental law, investment and trade law, refugee law, and etc., has been an inspiration for the international community. The engagement of ARCO with the IOC is another significant facet worth of mentioning. The organization plays a crucial role in transmitting the views of the IOC to its member states, including its own positions on various topics on the agenda of the Amish Commission. In turn, the member states of ARCO are expected to share their positions on the work of the Commission. This mutual engagement is highly beneficial for all stakeholders, as scholarly and practice-oriented approaches extended assistance in this regard in clarifying complex issues. Going ahead, I note that future is bright for ARCO. The codification and progressive development of international law is a continuous exercise that will manifest itself in diverse forms and ways as we proceed. The need to continuously engage with the historical legacy of the Bandung Conference is a task we should not take lightly. Bandung signifies the essence of transnational engagement, rooted in the principles and values of equity, fairness, and justice. Its idea will never lose its relevance and has forever imprinted itself in the sense of Afro-Asian imagination. I note that the 60th annual session would be the first of the Secretary General, Dr. Kamaling, after assuming charge as the Secretary General of ARCO. I place on record my appreciation to Secretary General, the Deputy Secretaries General of ARCO, and the entire team of ARCO for their diligent and committed efforts in the past months for the preparation of this annual session. I wish the annual session all success, and China looks forward to actively participating in the proceedings of the annual session in the best traditions of Afro-Asian bonhomie, and looks forward to supporting ARCO in all possible ways in the times ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mao, for a very, very wonderful statement, very encouraging. Thank you so much. May I now invite Honorable Madam Meenakshi Lekhi, the chief guest for the session, to kindly deliver the inaugural address. You have the floor, ma'am, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kamlin Pentevodol, Secretary General ALCO, Honorable Geoffrey Kazengi Pinda, Deputy Minister, Minister of Constitutional and Legal Affairs, United Republic of Tanzania, Ms. Zin Ho, on behalf of the President of 59th Annual Session of ALCO, Honorable Kinsikas Attorney General, distinguished guests, ministers, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and pleasure to be present here on the 60th session of ALCO. So far as India's commitment to the ALCO is concerned, we were not only the founding members, but we also host the Secretariat of ALCO, which goes to showcase our commitment to the lawmaking and rule of law, both domestically and internationally. And it is that commitment which allows us not only to participate, but take a front foot progress and make progress in lawmaking exercise, and ALCO being one of them. One of the international bodies which started as a body to deal with Asian Forum. It was initially Asian Forum, and then Africa was conjoined to it, All I can say is that when I look around, most of us are developing countries. And all developing countries, aspirational countries, have their own aspirations to deal with. And aspirations would mean to take care of our own people while engaging with the world and making world a better place to live for everyone. That is the kind of commitment ALCO represents. And as mentioned earlier by earlier speakers, that it all started in Bandung in Indonesia, and that spirit of Bandung is what is the guiding principle for all of us to engage and work with. In modern day, in today's time and age, the same spirit can also be enshrined by the word of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, when he says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas or Sabka Vishwas, which means we all together. Sabka Saath means everyone has to work together. Sabka Vikas, everyone has to progress. And Sabka Vishwas, which means everyone needs to have the same faith and consciousness. So it's a unification of consciousness which gets translated into lawmaking. As far as India is concerned, our commitment to law, both domestic and international, is for everyone to see. Article 51 of Indian Constitution specifically mentions about India's commitment to international law. And as per that, all the treaties and convention where India is a signatory need to be respected as per our domestic law. And we are integrating all those principles into domestic law, whatever has been agreed upon at multilateral forums, and which is directly in the spirit of Article 2.3 of the UN conventions. So whether it's UN conventions in various forms, law against domestic violence, law against sexual harassment at workplace, refugees, law of the sea, law of peaceful negotiations, trade and commerce, India is not just a signatory but an active participant in all those forums and in lawmaking, and so is ALCO. I just feel that ALCO is one forum which needs to up its game and has to, historically we have participated in great deal and we've done huge amount of work, whether it was law of treaties, law of conventions, law of the seas, EEZ, we've done some remarkable work, and that is ALCO's contribution to the world. But I feel many bilateral issues get to be discussed. Instead of that, the challenges which developing countries are facing is what we should all be discussing. When it comes to international trade and commerce, what should be the regulations amongst us? I feel that is a weaker link which needs to be strengthened, and we need greater work on that aspect. Climate change and sustainability or climate finance. Each of our countries is impacted by those issues, but I feel a lot more needs to be done on those aspects, and we will be missing the game if we do not work on those aspects. On refugee, I feel a whole lot of refugees are coming from Asian region, and the rights and regulations, the crisis on behalf of many of our countries, neighboring countries, I can say that we are all very, very densely populated region of the world. And in spite of being densely populated, low-income groups, we are the ones who are receiving most number of refugees. Something else needs to be thought about these principles, and principles need to be more equitable, and everyone needs to operate on those principles. When we talk about equity and justice, the word itself means it has to be equitable and it has to be looked at from that perspective. And when it comes to human rights on behalf of India, I can definitely say that we are one country which respects human rights, not from now, not when United Nations was formed, but since time immemorial, in spite of whatever the history would have offered us. But refugees through the ages have been coming to this country, and human rights have been violated also through the ages, but we are the ones who have stood by the people in favor of respecting human rights. And whether refugees came from Europe, refugees came before Christ, post-Christ, whichever time frame it happened, India was receiving everyone and respecting everyone's rights, and those very people got amalgamated with our population and are now citizens of India, and that's the history which India has to tell to the world. All religions of the world are housed in India, and within those religions, whatever be the distinction marks, India is one which has housed all of them through the centuries. That's what India stands for. I must say that today the challenges are slightly different. The challenges could be in the form of counter-terrorism. The challenges could be in the form of sustainability and environmental challenges, the developmental challenges, equal access to finance. The challenges could be regarding the trade treaties which happen between countries, which could be exploitative in nature, and they need to be corrected. So some kind of formatting which needs to be done, and that's why I use the word that ALCO in those areas needs to up its game, and many things are happening in our neighborhood and across the globe. So those challenges can only be met through legal norms, and thus rule of law becomes very, very important for each one of us. And this forum is the best forum to deal with those. Historically, I must add that when I read about Vienna Convention, I read about other treaties, I feel, and I see some academics who are present here, I wish the ancient texts of India is studied again, because these conventions which the modern world is familiarizing itself with existed as part of our history. And we believed in those rule even at the time of wars. How do you deal with an opponent? How do you respect? What is the timing in which you engage with an injured soldier? How do you treat an animal? Why women and pregnant women and children be not attacked? All this existed in our texts. And I just hope and pray that someone gets into that research bit and showcases what the humanity has known all through the history, but got lost because of many other reasons, because people diverted from that principle. And this forum can become a forum which actually shows the way to the world as to how multilateral engagements have to happen. My best wishes to each one of you who have found time to engage at this forum, and special compliments to the Secretary General, who is very passionate about the subject and puts all his efforts to show, to bring us all together and take the work forward. I declare the 60th session of ALCO open, and you may please enjoy the hospitality of Delhi. It's a historical city which has been there for several centuries, even before Christ. There are many historical places to visit, and you find multitude of people. It's a truly international city. On behalf of India, on behalf of my government, on behalf of the Honorable Prime Minister, President, everyone, I welcome you all. Please enjoy the city and the forum. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Madam. That was indeed insightful. Thank you so much. May I now invite the Honorable Mr. Jeffrey Mizengo Pinda to deliver the vote of thanks, sir. Please, you have the floor.
Your Excellency, Nina-Kash Lenz, Minister of State and External Affairs and Culture. Your Excellency, representative of the President of 60th ALCO Annual Session, the Vice President, Dr. Kamarin Pintivodo, Secretary General of ALCO, Honorable Ministers and Attorney Generals from Member States, Excellencies, High Commissioner and Ambassadors, Head of Delegation of ALCO from Member State and the non-Member State, Head of International Organizations, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a matter of honor and a privilege to me to address you at the beginning of the 16th annual session being held in New Delhi. I bring greetings and a warm regard from my country, the United Republic of Tanzania, which had the honor to host 58th annual session 2019. The United Republic of Tanzania, as always, has been a strong supporter of ALCO and a strong votary for Afro-Asian unit and born homies. We look forward to maintain our good relations with ALCO and her member state in the time ahead under the new leadership of His Excellency Dr. Kamarin Pintivodo. I know that tenure of Secretary General Professor Dr. Kennedy Gaston was a meaningful and a useful one of ALCO. I am proud that Professor Gaston, as a Tanzanian son, made as a remarks contribution to ALCO. I look forward to the 16th annual session, which is also being held in hybrid format like the 59th annual session held in Hong Kong. And one of the shorter duration. I hope that the annual session is a highly productive one and help us revisit our common interests and aspirations on the topics proposed to be discussed in the annual session. I thank the ALCO Secretary General, ALCO Secretariat for their effort in organizing the annual session and all effort made in the regard, and ALCO grows stronger in the year to come. Thank you for your kindness, attention. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Minister. May I take this opportunity now to kindly request the Secretary General to present a token of appreciation on behalf of ALCO to the Chief Guest, please. Ma'am, we wish to express our deepest gratitude to you for sparing your valuable time to inaugurate the 60th annual session of ALCO. Thank you so much.